Straight out the boot room to Wembley, our second home. We come to conquer, no, we never walk alone. We dominate the cream of the crop, drawing all our strength from the roar of the cock. It's all for one and one for all. Pass a move, we're talking total football. Here we go again, Roy's red machine. Liverpool, the greatest team the world has ever seen. Pass a move, it's the Liverpool crew. Pass a move, it's the Liverpool crew. Pass a move, 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 it's the Liverpool crew.
Hello and welcome back to the Liverpool Groove. The new season is upon us. It's now starting to get interesting, to say the least. Fixtures were announced on Tuesday, and obviously Liverpool had to get the 12:30 first game of the season, which we all love. But very fitting, I think, that we get the game we did. The first visitors to Portman Road in the Premier League for 23 years since Liverpool were the last visitors to Portman Road in the Premier League. It's quite fitting. It's quite a full circle moment. So to talk about that, I am joined by Matt from Talking Town today. Matt, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, great to be here, Quinny. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. So I'd say, yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, like that real full circle moment, like the last team to visit Portman Road in the Premier League and the newest team to visit Portman Road in the Premier League. It's just kind of fitting.
I remember those games very well, actually, because you beat us 5-0 at Anfield. That's my only trip I've ever been to Anfield. I've been back since. And you beat us 6-0 at Portman Road. And I always remember you swapped your keepers round. I think Dudek. Who was the Finnish guy you had? Peggy?
Peggy Arfek said.
Yeah. Either he was playing or Dudek played and they swapped him over. It's the only time my dad, no longer with us, sadly, ever swore at a game when he said you were taking the fucking piss.
Yeah, no, that seems about right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but I mean, you know, just the rise Ipswich have had the last couple of years has just been phenomenal. You know, we've seen it in the past once or twice, but I mean, I don't think anybody expected it from Ipswich. You know, bringing Kieran McKenna in from United, his first managerial role, and to do the job he's done has been just phenomenal.
It is unbelievable because if you rewind back to when he was appointed, or when you were seeing like the runners and riders to who might, you know, take over from Paul Cook, Liverpool fan, I should point out, to be the new town manager. No one really knew who Kieran McKenna was, knew nothing about him, knew that they'd seen him in the dugout in the Premier League, you know, alongside Solskjaer, and I know Mourinho had brought him through and Ranić and all that. But yeah, we knew nothing about him. And like you say, I mean, it's been an absolute roller coaster ride. I mean, as soon as he's got his feet under the table, you know, we nearly do the magic 100 points, 100 goals to get promoted out of League One. We just fell short on the points front. I think we scored 101 goals or something. And then last season, 96 points, 90 odd goals. Phenomenal. I mean, look, a lot of Ipswich fans will say, I thought we could do back-to-back. Let me tell you, that was wishful thinking. I would have been quite happy. And I would say the majority of contributors on Talking Town would have been quite happy if we'd finished mid-table, a little bit of consolidation. But to suddenly be that kind of like thorn in the side of a Leicester, Leeds, Southampton, you know, the three that had come down from the Premier League, I'm pretty certain Leeds thought we were going to like just tail away at some point, as was. They did. But I mean, look, Leeds are falling apart again, right? I did feel a bit sorry for them, really. Like we've been on their pods and stuff. They were nice lads. But yeah, we capitalised on their you know, Leeds' run of form after the Easter international break, which wasn't very good. We just remained consistent, Quinny, to be honest with you, and that's why we finished second. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion that Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton would be the three that come back up, and you know, it I think there was times last season it did look that way. I think Leeds were clear at the top at one point, weren't they? And you know, like you said, they just fell apart.
Yeah, you're right. Leicester, I mean, look, Leeds did go top for a spell when Leicester sort of fell off the perch a little bit. I mean, look, they were like 17, 18 points ahead of everybody at one point. Yeah, they just didn't show the consistency. Southampton tailed off after having like a 100-year record-breaking run of, you know, wins. But McKenna just, you know, he's instilled, like, he likes to call it the group, sort of modern young coach thinking. But, you know, where we lack in sort of quality, maybe, in terms of like we haven't spent the money that the parachute payment clubs did. We had that kind of togetherness. You've got the momentum of a promotion already. We're upon the free coming down or off the back of a relegation. And all those things kind of played into our hands, to be honest with you. And Yeah, now we find we're a little bit similar to you guys, right? We started in 2020 lockdown podcast, playing the likes of Rochdale and Shrewsbury, and now we're on shows talking to your good self, talking about Liverpool coming to Portman Road. And that's only,
Yeah.
4 years ago.
No, it is. It's quite the rise. Were you worried at all? Obviously, there was talk, of McKenna, that Chelsea were interested in him, and I think I can't remember. I think there was another club
Brighton.
who apparently
Brighton was the one.
was it
Yeah,
Brighton,
Brighton.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the rumours flying around that he said he wasn't going to sign a new contract, and then he's kind of blew it all out the water. We get ever worried about him leaving?
Yeah, everyone was really worried. Yeah, because you're taking away what's brought the success. Like we say, we started the top of the show here talking about, it's 20 years since we've played you, and Ipswich have been treading water. We've been dormant. Considering I always think back to the 80s when we were kind of toe to toe with Liverpool a little bit. I mean, you ask anyone of my age, 40, 45 plus. We love that Liverpool team. Bob Paisley and, Souness and Ian Rush and, John Walk left Ipswich to go to the Liverpool team. So, yeah, I mean, we were used to success, and you've got all these years of being dormant and in the doldrums and not doing anything and going down to the third tier. And McKenna comes in, revitalises the club, revitalises the town. Listen, Quinny, we drank the place dry when we got promoted to the Premier League. I think all the bars shut by 7. You couldn't get a drink at all in Ipswich. So it just goes to show we was in party mode. But yeah, going back to your question, everyone was really worried. Because you look at like Brighton, I mean, I think back to when they was at the Withdean, right? It was like that athletic stadium and they were pretty much homeless. And, they've gone on a great run since and become mainstays in the Premier League and European football, which is kind of what we want to do. We want to follow that blueprint. But yeah, I mean, look, they're not a bigger club than us in terms of status, I don't think, but in terms of like establishment at the top table, the dining with kings, I like to call it, at the Premier League, they've been there for a considerable time. So I think McKenna probably was looking at that as an option. Chelsea were looking at him. I think he would have gone to Chelsea. What we were told was he could have gone to Chelsea, but obviously they decided to go with Maresca. But I mean, look, I'm glad it would have felt. As Ipswich fans, we've said on our Talking Town show, it was one of our contributors, Ben, said it would have felt like the McKenna chapter of the book. The last chapter would have gone if he hadn't managed us in the Premier League a little bit. So I'm glad. But it's a risk, though, isn't it? I mean, look, everyone was talking about Vincent Kompany when he went up with Burnley, didn't they? Sort of being the next big thing and going to Manchester City. As it is, he's lucked out going to Bayern Munich somehow. But look, it shows you how tough it is, though, isn't it? Burnley were really good, 100+ points in the Championship. Relegated with a bit of a whimper, really, weren't they, from the Premier League? As all 3 were that come up from the Championship.
Yeah, it was a strange one, but I think, and it's something we've spoke about on our podcast before. Everyone wants to play like really nice football nowadays, and I think the teams that come up all tried to play football, and they didn't really have the squads to do it in the right way in the Premier League. They needed to try and just get results rather than play nice football. But at least if it doesn't go quite how you want it and you get relegated, Kieran McKenna, based on Vincent Kompany, will end up at Real Madrid next season. So, still plan for him.
Who knows? Where might take you a relegation? Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That's a question for you, I suppose, because obviously we've been out of the Premier League for 2 decades plus, and you've seen clubs come up from the Championship and go back down again. Is that what you think? Do you think they're just trying to stick too much to trying to go toe to toe with the big clubs and play football? Is that the issue, do you think?
Yeah, I think, you look at Sean Dyche, when he was at Burnley, he always got sort of ridiculed a little bit for playing sort of Brexit football. But it got results. They come to Anfield and I mean, there was no fans there, but they come to Anfield and won. They won at Old Trafford, they won at Stamford. They were getting results everywhere, and they were consistent in the league for a number of years. And now, Kompany comes up with them, and he does play nice football, and Burnley did play nice football, but it just wasn't not sustainable in your first season back in the league, I don't think.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what Ipswich would do, because like McKenna's putting this identity of passing football and, marauding down the wings. But we can get cool. Look, we do ship goals. We had lots of 3-2s and 4-3s. I remember when we played Leeds at Portman Road back in August, and they just counter-attacked us, and we went 1-up and we lost 4-3, but we were 3-1 down within about 10 minutes of going a goal up, And I think that's the risk we're going to have. I mean, everyone always looks at sort of who's going to score the goals for you in the Premier League, but you know, Don Goodman, one of the mainstays on the Championship Sky coverage, said, you know, you've got to be investing in your defence, and I think I agree with that. I mean, I looked at the stats before I come on with you, and like, I think the three relegated sides conceded nearly 300 goals between them, like 270 goals or something, daft. So it just goes to show where the weakness is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You talk about, obviously, you know, the marauding wingers and the way Ipswich play. Who are the sort of, is there anybody you think could be a real impact player in the Premier League for Ipswich?
But if we can keep hold of him, Leif Davis, who's our left back, and I'm pretty certain in this forthcoming 24-25 season, you'll see him get capped by England. I mean, he broke Trippier's assist record in the Championship. I think he got something like 18 assists. Takes our corners. He's a winger, really. Just it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Everyone thinks he's a left back, but he's a winger. And a lot of the counter attacks came from that side because he gets pushed so fast forward. So he's really good. On the other side, we've had Wes Burns, who plays for Wales, someone who's come through League One with us. A speed merchant. Maybe his crossing's not so good, but you know. A proper quick winger in the old-fashioned sense, a little bit, I suppose. In the middle, we've got Sam Morsey, tough tackling Egyptian international. Massimo Luongo, the Australian, beside him. They've been a real engine room for us. Both practice. I think we paid a small fee for Morsey from Middlesbrough, where he wasn't featuring, and Luongo didn't play for Middlesbrough at all. So I mean, it's ironic that two Middlesbrough reserves have been the engine room of Ipswich Town's midfield and got us to the Premier League. But there you go. And then in the 10 role, we've had Connor Chaplin, who got 10 goals in the 10 role, got 13 goals last season, alongside Nathan Broadhead on the left. So we've got a nice little blend of sort of that experience for Luongo and Morsey in the midfield, with kind of some younger players around them. And certainly speed and a quick passing has really been our forte, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you talk about some of them names there, Sam Morsey, Massimo Luongo, you know, the very experienced players in the Championship. You know how to navigate that league. You know, Morsey, I know he was at Wigan before he was at Middlesbrough. He's he's been at some good clubs, so very smart signings. And I think if you can replicate that with Premier League experience, then I think, you know, you've got a real chance. Is there any positions you think where you really do need to improve?
Certainly, I think the two centre halves, I think we're going to have to improve on. I mean, look, they've been good for us in League One and the Championship. Luke Wolfenden, who's come through our academy, Cameron Burgess, Scottish, Australian, we bought from Accrington Stanley. Didn't really break into the team to begin with at League One, but sort of found his place under McKenna. So, I mean, look, they've been really solid for us. I mean, like, you know, back-to-back promotions, you can't really be critical of anyone. But I do feel like probably we're going to have to upgrade in those positions, given the stat we spoke about, the 300 goals almost conceded by the three relegated sides. Probably a right back as well. I mean, we've had Axel Twanzebe, who I know was a centre half at Manchester United. I think he captained them in the League Cup. Struggled with injuries, lost his contract at United. Came to us, obviously the McKenna connection. But he's played right back mostly. He's been pretty good there in a kind of like Titus Brambley kind of way, I would say. Titus Bramble, of course, come through our academy. But I think we'll have to upgrade there. Leif Davis will need some competition. Probably, look, we talk about being the wrong side of 31, 32, Luongo and Morsey. We're going to have to be looking at, you know, for competition for them, I think. Especially with VAR coming, you know, VAR is going to be new to us. You know, Morsey got the most yellow cards in the Championship, I think, last season. God knows how many of those might get turned to red on the old, you know, the video assistant referee. So, I mean, look, we are going to have to strengthen. But, of course, it's a fine line, isn't it? Do you strengthen with some quality? But you want to keep the momentum of the unit that you've got, and that confidence and the goodwill and the trust you've got there. We did that a little bit 20 years back when we got, you know, we finished 5th in the Premier League, brought in Matteo Sereni for about 4 million, a goalkeeper from Sampdoria, still our record signing, and Finidi George come in, and we kind of peppered the side with these bigger European signings, and we got relegated. So, I mean, there's you know, we've been down that path before. So it's a fine line, isn't it? Trying to get in some quality, but keeping the nucleus of what's been successful for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you talk about that side from the first time around in the Premier League, and obviously you had Marcus Stewart up front banging the goals in, like it was.
Yeah.
Done wonders, that team, to be fair.
Look, we won at Anfield amazingly. I mean, bloody hell.
Yeah.
The 1-0 there. I mean, that team was phenomenal. Again, we came up with momentum. We'd won the playoffs 4-2 against Barnsley at Wembley, the old Wembley. We got done 3-1 at Spurs, I think it was, on the opening day. And then we got a draw with Man United at Portman Road and took the lead in that game, Fabian Vilnas. I think that gave us the real confidence to kind of push on. And, that was the all-conquering Fergie side, wasn't it? And then we beat Sunderland the game after that, I think 1-0. Again, it's momentum in it. You just get the confidence. Yeah. God knows what happened against Liverpool opening day of the season. I don't know. I'm not really thinking too much about it at the moment.
No, definitely.
Considering you've done a 6-0 there last time, but look, your fingers are crossed, right, for something positive.
Well, obviously it's it's a new start for Liverpool as well. Jurgen Klopp going after 9 years, and Slot coming in. Is it a little bit bittersweet in that sense, not getting to see Kieran McKenna lock horns with Jurgen Klopp?
I guess so, just because you watch from afar, don't you? We've been the kids looking for the window in the sweet shop, watching what's going on. But I mean, I watch a lot of Bundesliga. I watch a lot of Eintracht Frankfurt. So I mean, I know a lot about Klopp, and he was at Dortmund, and he was I found him a very jovial character when he was in Germany with Mainz and everything, and Dortmund. And I don't know, maybe the pressure of Liverpool and stuff. I mean, maybe he lost that a little bit. Maybe it's a good time for him to be going. I mean, look, Arne Slot's going to be a bit of it's a new chapter for you. Can he step up into the Premier League? He's done very well. I think it's final, does it? He's won in the Netherlands with. So, look, he comes on a crest of a wave as well. And look, he's going to have all the infrastructure, all the money, all the nucleus of players there to build upon. But like I say, look, I've always quite liked Liverpool. Like I say, the Bob Paisley era, the Ian Rush and Alan Hansen, God bless him. That was a great side. Souness, Terry McDermott. I think Ipswich fans are just really happy to be back at that top table and playing against the likes of Liverpool rather than Shrewsbury, the Rochdales and Morecambes and all of that. And look, no one knew like we said earlier, no one knew we'd do it in like 2.5 years or whatever. I mean, we had American ownership come in, so similar to Liverpool, to hit the Henry era you've got. We had sort of a nucleus of ownership has come from Arizona and like their Blue Light Services pension fund. So we've had a lot of money come in. So we haven't just done this from scratch, if you see what I mean. I know we haven't done it on the back of parachute payments, but in League One, we had the biggest budget. We was able to attract the bigger players. No one knew how that would maybe translate into the Championship, but it did. And here we come to face Liverpool at Portman Road. But yeah, it is a little bit bittersweet. We'd like to have seen Klopp there, but who knows? Who knows in the next decade, Slot may go on to surpass him. Who knows what he might be capable of? Who knows what McKenna might be capable of in the next decade? That's the beauty of it.
A lot of new beginnings, just in general in the Premier League going into this new season, it seems. But it's an exciting time, and when I messaged you guys about somebody coming on and having a chat with me, I'm not sure if it was yourself who responded to the messages, but you said it hasn't quite sunk in yet. It hasn't. The fixtures made it a little. Yeah, the fixtures getting released made it a little bit more real. But until that whistle goes on the opening day of Portman Road, it won't quite sink in yet.
It's that's Martin, who the founder of Tall Kids said. Yeah, he hosts it. I mean, look, it's a difficult start for us, right? We've got you, and then we've got Manchester City away. Then we have Fulham. Then I think it's Fulham who come to Portman Road. So that's the game we might be looking to get something out of. But it's unforgiving, the Premier League, isn't it? Like you look at in League One or the Championship. In League One, we were the bigger fish, so we could look at where we could put a run together. It's very difficult in the Premier League to see where you can put a run together because I think we've got Tottenham and Man United and maybe Chelsea back to back at some point. At Christmas, we've got Boxing Day. I think it's Arsenal away. And the games come thick and fast. They're very, very difficult. But I mean, you don't need that many points to stay up these days, do you? I mean, it used to be the magic number was 40, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. The magic number used to be 40, and I see Brentford managed to stay up this season with 39 points. I think a lot of realistic Ipswich fans should be looking to see if they can at least get close to that. You're looking at maybe 5 wins at home, 5 away potentially. I mean, you're always trying to win the games against the sides around you, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like you got your 6 pushing for Europe, then the middle lot, and then everyone trying to avoid relegation. So I mean, it's kind of like 3 mini leagues in one, really.
Yeah. It's crazy, but I think you're saying you're not sure where you can put a run together. I think that is very true. I think for most teams, even Liverpool last season, I think we we said all season on our podcast, we didn't expect us to do as well as we did. In the end, to be honest, we were happy with, we would have been happy with top 4 and Europe at the start of the season. And the fact that we were in a title race up until the last couple of weeks of the season was massive for us. And yeah, it kind of fell to pieces in the end, but it was still a great journey to be on. But you look at that little run we had from like the Atlanta game where we couldn't do anything. Basically, we just fell apart completely, and it just goes to show that, like, while City are dominating this league, and they are, it's very annoying, but anybody can still beat anybody in the Premier League. You look at the run Crystal Palace have just put together at the end of the season. The end of the season's come at the wrong time for them massively. So yeah, it's still the most exciting league in the world, and for me, seeing Ipswich back, like, I think a lot of neutrals, I obviously can't speak for them all, but I know a lot of neutrals who I know were rooting for Ipswich to come back up. For me, when Ipswich were first in the Premier League 20 odd years ago, I was I was 8, 9, that kind of age. So like for me, it's one of my earlier memories of the Premier League. Obviously I was into it beforehand, but it's not as vivid. And so Ipswich, as someone I just always think should be in the Premier League, just it feels right with them in the Premier League. So, and obviously, like you say, you've got the history behind you, the Bobby Robson team, UEFA Cup winners. The history is there. It just feels right.
Yeah. But I'm glad to hear you say that, Quinny. And Ipswich fans around the globe will rejoice to hear that. Yeah, it is great to be back at the top table again and playing the likes of yourselves. Whether or not it's sustainable, we'll have to wait and see. But I look at, I know Bournemouth have bounced down and come back up again, but you've got your Brentfords in there, Bournemouth, Wolves, Brighton. I mean, look, there are blueprints of success there that we can follow, and we do feel like we've got a very good manager, we've got a very good ownership model behind us. That if the worst comes to the worst and we do go down, at least we're going to have parachute payments. When we got relegated from the Premier League originally, we didn't have any of that and went into administration. Just so it shows you how different it is. Look, we used to lament the fact that we were playing teams with parachute payments. And if we go back down, we'll be coming down with like a shitload of money. So, look, I'm going to. Last season for me was a bit of a free hit for McKenna because I didn't expect us to get, to do so well and then to get promoted. So again, it's another free hit for him. Really, I would just want to enjoy the ride, and that might be difficult if you're getting hammered every week. You know what people are like. You can only take so many defeats and they start calling the managers kids and stuff, don't they? But, let's just enjoy the experience of a bouncing Premier League, Portman Road. It's going to be great. Oh, look, the stadium holds just under 30,000. You won't be able to move outside the ground when Liverpool come there on the opening day. So it's going to be brilliant. Can't wait. Yeah.
And I didn't actually know it was that big capacity-wise, to be honest. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. We do always seem to get the newly promoted side on the opening day of the season, and Portman Road is not going to be an easy place to go for the opening game of the season. It's going to be a cauldron. So
it really will be. Yeah, it will be. I mean, look, the stadium's undergoing sort of changes at the moment to get Premier League ready. To get the VAR in and all that kind of stuff, and safe standings coming in as well. But I mean, like I mentioned earlier, when we drew 1-1 with United that time, and we had a smaller stadium then. It was probably about maybe 23,000 then before they upgraded some of it. And I remember Ferguson saying it was like 45,000 people you'd have thought was in the stadium. Such was the noise. So I certainly think that will be replicated on the opening day of the season. It'd be very interesting. So it'd be a baptism of fire for Slot in a way, I guess. To come into that kind of atmosphere, but you've got the quality and the good players to do well. Let's wait and see. Well, we scored very early in that Man United game. I wonder if we can do it again inside the first 10 minutes. I think it was.
Yeah, well, you know what? We weren't great. We struggled to keep a clean sheet last season, especially towards the end. It was only the last game of the season. I think we went about 15 games without a clean sheet. So, I mean, it's doable. It really is. I can't say otherwise. I'd love to sit here and sort of say I think we can put 5 or 6 past you, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think with everything new that's going on, it's a bit of a mystery to us at the minute as well. We're not sure what to expect.
I do hope from from my own perspective, really. I mean, from a neutral perspective, but from my own perspective as well, that the title race is close. I don't like domination when you've just got your Manchester. I mean, well, if City just done 3 on the trot. with the asterisk next to it because of the financial implications that could come in about 100 years' time. Oh, it's 4 on the trot. Yeah, I don't like that. I want to, that's what I like about American sports. Watch a lot of baseball. You generally don't see teams retaining titles there. It's different. You got the rotation of winners, and I'd like to see that at the top. And certainly, I hope it's close down at the bottom. You don't want 3 clubs, being detached from the rest of the division. So I hope it's competitive. And we're used to being involved in things now over the last 2 seasons. For many seasons, we were just dormant, like mid-table, not going up, not going down. We're used to things going to the wire now. I mean, look, we might have to get used to the relegation coming to the wire, right? But at least it's something to look forward to.
Yeah. No, like you say, you've got to just enjoy the journey, haven't you? And whatever happens. It's gonna be a great season, regardless for you. I think it just. As we've said, just being back is just amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, Matt, thank you. Look, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Nice.
I'd say I genuinely am really looking forward to seeing Ipswich back in the Premier League. I'd say they've always been a club I liked. So for me, it's just as a neutral, it's great to see them back, and I can't wait. So best of luck for the season.
Thank you. You too. Thanks, Quinny.